The track here is Parkway Drive's Sleight of Hand, or Sleight of Hand. I'm not sure what the term actually is pronounced. This is a very interesting track because I find it so creepy. Like the melody, in its own way, is just extremely fucking creepy to me. Like, if I look at the tab, it's full of creepiness. I swear it's like a chromatic riff, but it's also not in the tab that I can see. That riff always like leads to a sense of dread for some reason. But I do love the composition in this. It's probably one of the heaviest songs in my opinion, as I'm misremembering. It's pretty good. It's got a simple progression and stuff. As it seems to go. And the lyrics are quite heavy as well, from what I can tell. I need to look at them in a sec. Yeah, like most Parkway Drive tracks, they're just really good. There's this interesting bridge bit with the leads doing some sort of like scale dancing, I guess you call it. I don't know what the actual term is. There's some really heavy bits that sounds a bit sort of metalcore-y. It's this bit of it's harmonics. I think that's what it is. Yeah, just a really good track. It's not my favourite, believe it or not, but it is really good. What about the lyrics? I never actually looked at these properly. No comfort, times what? Fear in the face of the unknown, born to die in the lonely world. Hostility breeds within the void, left by the loss of understanding. Feel strangely relevant. I'm gonna mention that. That's scarily relevant. Hatred, the true face of ignorance, falls fed to the masses with promises of salvation, with the promise of salvation. Knowledge controlled, power withheld, in the name of one little blood spill. This is 2012. What the fuck? This aged crazy well. There is no God that could love this world. I find no comfort in a life lived on my knees, no comfort, divine judgment I can never believe. Yeah, obviously it's all about religion in that case. It's like how religion leads you to believe just real crazy shit. The hatred, the true face of ignorance. Literally. Left by the loss of understanding. Hostility breeds within the void, yep. Born to die in the lonely world, yeah, that's pretty much it. Fear in the face of the unknown, yeah, that's often the coping mechanism behind religion anyway. Why it exists. But I for one welcome our unknown and void the overlords. Knowledge controlled, power withheld. In the name of one little blood spill. I guess it's about the like terroristic groups around religion too. Because that is an issue with some of them. They definitely have that in their writing. But it's like only a select few people luckily prescribe to that for real. I think a lot of people just disagree with it. Divine judgment I can never believe. To live a life without regret. Is it not enough to love and be loved? Like that's like yeah. Religion does preach against loving one another, at least depending on the religion. I know Christianity technically does. But people take hatred from it and use that as the core message to often distract from things that are more pressing. And nothing lasts forever, nothing lasts forever, nothing lasts. Superstition rules in the land of the weak, nothing lasts forever, superstition rules in the land of the weak. Fear in the face of the unborn style in the world, it's the same lyrics. Knowledge control, power withheld, in the name of one little blood spill. There's no God that could love as well, there is no God. There's no God that could love this world. Oh shit. Changes up. Jesus Christ, that is heavy. Yeah. So I guess it's like also showing that in terms of religion, yeah, people obviously take the bits that they like from it, but if there are bits that they like that are hateful, then yeah, they make a complete mockery of the belief or the religion. I think it goes for both, technically speaking, because in terms of belief, it's like believing even somehow politicians themselves have a sort of power and understanding of the world that resonates with people, and that's why it feels so strangely relevant. It's kind of scary. Even though this is like 14 years ago, at least coming up soon, it's still strange to think about, because wasn't, I think, Bill Clinton the president at the time in the US? Obviously, Parkway driver in Australia, so I don't know what the situation was like then. To be fair, it could have been different. But yeah, it just feels very fucking crazy. And also, what does sleight of hand mean anyway? What does sleight of hand mean in D&D? What? Manual dexterity typically in performing conjuring tricks. Yeah, like that's religion. That's fucking politics as well. Skillful deception, yep. But yeah, this song is just great. I recommend you check the full song out, because obviously you'll hear more of it from there. It's just incredible. It's probably one of the best atheist tracks I've ever heard. What the fuck it is with this place, but it gets worse and worse every fucking day. Like, it's so bad. So, where do I even start today? I'll start with waking up. Like, I woke up early, which is good. I was on time for things, but things got out of hand later on. But first issue I encountered was going into the kitchen. There's a horrible fucking smell. And because of my sensitivity to smell, not only can I not identify where it comes from, I also cannot fucking get out of my room. Like, it follows me. I don't know where the fuck it is coming from or what it is. I don't know, like, nobody's ever had this issue when I've grown up. I've never smelled anything like this. It's only happened since the first housemate here moved in. So I don't even know. For some reason, there's always this fucking guy causing problems. I don't get it. Yeah, the landlord doesn't do anything. Are you kidding me? That wasn't it. Because later on, someone came in and I wasn't messaged, I wasn't told anything. It was early in boy, my fucking favourite topic. Games that waste your time with RNG bullshits. Oh, I don't know what it is about games like this that fucking attract me. Honestly don't know. It's weird, but I think it's again another case where I just need to put my resources better in better places. So, today's topic for this game, Final Fantasy XIV, is about my treasure map experience. I'm disappointed, extremely so, and I wanted to look at the confirmations I got for this from the community, just in case there is something I missed, but I don't know. I will check it after I rant. So the rant, let's get this on with. I just find it massively disappointing that the gargantuan map I'm talking about here, just for reference, unlike the others, as I sort of guessed, was confusing at first. So I keep seeing these groups in Party Finder about bringing free maps, and it took me a while to figure out actually what that meant, given I have learning difficulties and, you know, that sort of delays it. But eventually I figured it out. I didn't even need to look it up. Like, I just figured it out by myself. I was like, wait a minute. You can decipher one, and that puts it in your key slot, and it's not the same item. Therefore, you must be able to carry another. But how would you get the third one? Chocobo saddlebag, obviously. I just clicked in that instant. I was like, when I saw that group again, I just figured it out. You know, it's not that hard. But I think for some, maybe it's probably easier to figure out. I don't know. It's just me being slow, I guess. And also just understanding the properties of the game. That's always a way that people might misthink that I'm actually better than I say I am with like learning difficulties. But it's actually just because I understand the properties a lot more and they're more familiar with me. And because I played Final Fantasy XIV so much here, I've just gotten used to things, and actually my experience did prove that. So I knew how to dig up a map. I'd done this ages ago with like an Realm Reborn map. And I tried it with Endwalker once and fucked up the what is it? I forgot what you call it, duty, that's it. So I never really bothered with that. Again, decided nah, because it needed a group, which is stupid in my opinion. Especially for old content. That's extremely stupid. So fix that please, Square Enix. But I basically managed to get into a gargantuan skin one, and I told them I knew and asked if there was anything I needed to know. Luckily, they didn't really need to tell me. I sort of figured it out as I went along. It's obviously the first thing we have to share the maps. I obviously decipher mine, found it in seconds because for some reason I'm really good at locating them. You know, I look for key points on the map where I'm seeing it deciphered, and I just look around for the pattern. There's like one in living memory near the arrow point, and I was trying to figure this out for like a few minutes because I didn't even know where that would be, because it's like a very specific sort of icon shape, or shape rather, on the map, and I realised that there's two. And then I just looked at the path and I just clicked. Like, okay, so that's quite easy to figure out. There's two spots where it could be, because we had players with 3 maps for the first one, and I had the second one, the second spot rather. And I hadn't looked these up, by the way. It's just I've just read maps. I've read them my whole fucking life because of gaming. I've had to read them, and I believe it came in useful ones. It's like, I swear I remember going on holiday with my dad's side of the family, and we were relying on the sat-nav, and like he does, he gets carried away and blames the sat-nav because it's shit, which it is. Turn left and then turn right. Even though it's going to make you crash into a wall. Okay. But I remember once, like, we pulled out the map, I think the local area or something, and I ended up giving directions because nobody else could read the map. It's like, oh, okay. Thanks, games. You taught me well. I know how to drive in GTA, I know how to drive in Battlefield, and I know how to drive even in Saints Row, so that's all the experience I need. Also, Burnout Paradise. Burnout Paradise is amazing. So anyway, that's that experience, but going into the duties themselves, I was not sure what happened. I was a bit confused. Obviously, you dig up the treasure, you open it, you sometimes get loot. Then obviously the one who dug it up, who owns the map, has to initiate the treasure and then open up the portal. And for some reason, it can open up with a chance of nothing. So you don't even get the portal sometimes, which is stupid because of the things that come after. So after that, you go into the duty, you wait for obviously the host, I don't know who you call it actually, to start the game. And the game is basically gambling. Although you don't have any control over it, which is a bit stupid in my opinion, but there we go. I think I'll make a better game designer at this point. I see so many things in this game and I think, okay, this isn't good. It's not a good look for the game, it's not a good look for anyone. It's just a waste of time, so it's not even fun. So, yeah. But you have to rely on this gambling thing. They spawn in like 2 set locations usually. Unless you get the Yan one. The Yan one is free treasure chest, which is a fever dream. And you have to collect all the sacks. But annoyingly with that, at the end of every, obviously these things, whatever you call them, is like 6 stages. If you get to the end, you can lose it by getting 3 broken diamonds for some reason, which is stupid again, in my opinion. And yeah, because you have to kill obviously the boss, and sometimes these additional things spawn which give you extra other material or gil. It's just a bit tedious in the end. You know, you're already diverting your attention to killing the boss, so yeah. And also the mechanics are really self-explanatory. I have to give props for that. I reckon if I wasn't playing tank, I could probably dodge all the mechanics and, you know, do all the relevant mechanics rather. Also figured out the jester ones, the 1, 2 through to 5. I sort of figured that out when I saw it. It's like, why they labelled that? Well, because they're 1 through to 5. Obviously you have to kill them in order. And someone said it in chat anyway, but it's interesting. Definitely can't fault the mechanics. Admittedly the spawn locations are a bit annoying at first, but I got used to them being in the tank. And eventually learned to improve on my sort of pulls as well. I remember when they spawned from like west, because that's like the 3rd stage one, where there's multiple ads. I tried to taunt it from east and then managed to pull it in the middle, so it's like where the treasure chest is, so that the host can obviously get it. It's like, I plan these things out. That's a tank's job essentially. You know, people think it's just like a face smash. No. You have to care about positionings as well. You have to give your melee flank rear. There's a lot to it. A lot more than people actually think. And also, like, you have to pay attention to like the positionals as well in the buffs, like at least Viper, I think. For some reason I don't think you could tell it for others, but Viper you can see red is rear and green is flank. Simple. Simples. Compare the meerkat.com. Don't go there. So what happened next? Oh yeah, the loot. You could either get an umbrella or glasses, and the entire time, the 18 ones I did, because it was like a party of 6 with 3 maps, I didn't get a single fucking thing. I didn't even get a high roll. I didn't see anything above 70 in my rolls. Which is just atrocious, like, what the fuck? But here's the realisation I had after doing it. And obviously going to brush my teeth, ready for bed, because I really need to go to bed. I'm tired as fuck, or sort of, more like mentally exhausted. But what I realised is this is basically loot boxes. Just thrown through a loot box. There's no fucking doubt about it. Just because you don't pay for it, it doesn't mean it isn't a loot box. It literally is a fucking loot box. Like, you get random shit with it, but you're also gambling RNG, you're gambling game time for this, which you're paying for, by the way. It's not repeatable like a dungeon or a raid. No, you're literally gambling for it. You've got 1 day to get a treasure map unless you want to pay stupid amounts of money, which encourages RNG, by the way, so stop making things this fucking hard. It's just so bad. It's such a poorly designed system. Even though you get like materials and materia, for that matter, even I can't say potions. Fucking hell. Yeah, it is not good. And the fact there's no RNG protection is further proof of that. Like, thanks. Like, what a load of fucking bullshit. Like, honestly, I would have thought they would have done better with that. Especially with gambling your time. Like, you get 31 maps in a month, supposedly. Or 30 on average, I guess. And what, like, that's not even enough to probably get the Yan. Let's be honest. I don't even know what the Yan drop rate is. And to be honest, I don't care at this point. The fact it only appeared once just says everything. Once in the 18 times, like, no, fuck off. That's a joke. Like, given, well, this is the thing, 6 turns in these ones, so you can have a max if you're extremely fucking lucky of getting, what, 6 times 18 is, I can't math. No, it's like 96, is it? 96, yeah. I think it's 96. Did I just do that quickly? Hang on. Calculator. 16, 18 times 6 rather. Yeah. 108. Okay, that's close. I'm not far off. It's just 2 away. 2 6s rather. But that's not good. Like, even then, if you do the average, which is like half of that, so the average would be 108, yeah, it's 54. You're still not getting a good chance, eh? Assuming it's like a 10% chance, or even 5%. Like, there's no fucking point. In those times that you do it in 1 day, it's not going to be worth it. Assuming you see 1 per day, with random groups, which by the way will probably get it before you, it's not fucking fair. This is why I hated doing PAS. Because I was just so fucking burnt out with just the bullshit with RNG and doing the mechanics, like learning it. And even if you had a group who had learned it, didn't always mean they'd do it. Didn't always mean they could actually master it. I couldn't master the first phase, for example. Second phase, no problem. Which demonstrates a massive problem in how it's designed. So I just don't understand that shit. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, why? You're fucking over your game with really trivial non-issues. But you make it an issue because you make it RNG, you make it difficult, you make it tedious, and then suddenly everyone's toxic. That's why it happens. I've seen this pattern before. It happened in World of Warcraft. It happened in, like, in Overwatch. Like, people were just playing for the fucking skins. And probably still do, to be honest. Let's not kid ourselves, they probably do. It happens everywhere. It's even in TF2. That's why you get scammers. It's just a bad economy in terms of how you use your time and how you play the game. So yeah, that perspective is not good. What was I going to say with the maps? I can't remember at the end. Let me just say when we're completed, we did things in order. I forgot to explain that sort of experience. We gave our maps out first, like the first locations, and sort of decided an order to do it in. And I think the second time we did the same thing, but only if you didn't decipher something on the location that we're on, basically. So it reduces the travel time, which is good, but it's not great. The lack of sort of decent areas and living memory is a bit weird, I think. The way they're spread out, like, they should have had 4 wafer rights there, I think, rather than FFXIV, but then again, I think people forget to use the NPCs. I only remember this recently when I was doing my relic weapon screenshots, but you can actually talk to the NPCs in Mnemo, and you can basically teleport there really quickly. They won't take you to the maps, but it'll take you to A ranks and stuff pretty quickly. You could get ahead of everyone if you do that. It can even get you to like some across the map. I reckon it could probably even get you to even the SS rank. I'm not sure if it could. It depends. It's always worth checking those shortcuts out because it's kind of handy sometimes. So yeah, that experience wasn't too bad. It's like a host checked with everyone. Someone was trying to go for the other maps, but I'm not fussed about that, to be fair. Did collect them, so there's no point. But this took 2 hours. 2 fucking hours. And again, do the math. Times that by 30, you get 60. Like, that's not worth it. 60 hours to fucking get your trials at a mount that isn't even that great anyway, in my opinion. I just thought it was cute, but not worth it. Same as the flying squirrel. Like, fuck that. Like, a grind I prefer. But the fucking RNG, like, no. Like, it's just shite. You don't design a game like this. It's bad. I don't know anyone who's even appreciated this. There's no appreciation post for this. Like, meanwhile, I see tons of commendations for things like the command bar, the quality of life, which are necessary, and even I think I've seen good comments about acquisitions about certain mounts as well. Could be wrong, but I swear I've read some of them. From like the Reddit. I'm not sure about forums. I don't really check the forums anymore. To be fair, like every MMO forum I think I've ever been on has been full of complete arseholes. It's actually crazy. I'll make a genuine cry for help and saying, I'm struggling with this, and you get people who just like, no, you're the arsehole. Like, what? I just described to you my problems in the game and what I need help with. And suddenly I'm the arsehole for that, for the learning difficulties. Like, great, thanks. That's real helpful. So, what else? I was going to look at the comments because I made a question in the Final Fantasy XIV Mega Thread Q&A FAQ, or actually it's daily questions and FAQ. First reply, maps are basically all MG, yes, and sometimes you don't get much more than a few thousand gil and some material. Yep, that's pretty much the experience I got. This is why people like to run maps, only need others greed. It also lists the RNG, so if something good drops in your map, you get it, but if your map doesn't open any portals, it still sucks. Like, I don't know, I don't really agree with that, that's the problem. This is toxic game design. Why can you set owner needs others greed? Like, I've seen that before, to be fair, so it's all out in the PAS run once, and I was a bit like, kind of, but it's only like, the owner wanted a bit of armour, which is fine. I wasn't there for the armour, so it doesn't matter. But, yeah, I got the mount on the first try, I think. Did it two more times. Still have the books in my retainer somewhere. Yeah, it's just disappointing. So there's one more comment. Wasn't any others for some reason. In FFA groups, yeah, it's pretty RNG heavy. If you want to be more likely to progress, you might want to join such start groups where it gets priority on noob, but FFA groups are typically the standard nowadays. Free for all, yeah. So, again, that's the problem. Like, depending on what the drop rate is, it's not going to be optimal. And this is why I'm trying to manage my time in the game. I've already spent so much fucking time in it. At most I want to complete a relic grind, but a mount grinds, like, sure. I did HYPERSKY 4 the other day on Savage, and that was okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't amazing. I just think it's in between. Like, mechanically it's quite simple, but I don't think it's quite trivial. Yeah, that's the sort of deal with that. And everyone pretty much got them out in the end. You don't even need the full party for that, that's the crazy thing. You could even do it with like 4 players, which is insane. I reckon the next ones you probably can't, but we'll see. I'm usually quite nervous going into those because I know there's a learning curve, and yeah, that's basically why PAS was my biggest fucking nightmare. Believe it or not, I'm due to try P12 which I'm not looking forward to. I just need a visual of the mechanics. It's not fucking hard. I don't know why people can't make that. I don't need a 12-minute video, I just need a picture. That's how I've read my whole life. Wait, what? Anyway, that's my thoughts on the treasure map grind. I'm definitely removing the other ones. I'm gonna sell my Endwalker maps because I don't want to farm for fucking Pinky. What's the point? But again, if it's gonna be that RNG, what's the point? I'm wasting my time here. I'd much rather do some of the great quests in this game, some of which apparently are really good. You know, I started on Fanalan a few months ago and haven't touched it since because I've been busy with the other things. I've still got to do Island Sanctuary, Gold Saucer, Eureka and Bosja. Speaking of which, I could add that. And Eureka, Bosja, there we go. It's just so many things that are not optimal in this, in all honesty. Yeah, but that's my thoughts on it, so let's move on before I kill my throat. I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but I have never seen the Minecraft movie. Believe it or not. I bet people are surprised to hear that, given I used to play a lot of Minecraft and somewhat enjoy it. I mean, they got boring after a while, and even though they add new things, it's kind of like, meh. It's really only fun to play with people, is what I've found in my experience. Playing it solo is a bit sort of scary at times, I'll be honest, because it's like, oh, you're just not having that much fun, you're just doing things for yourself, rather than working with each other and just having fun. So I've had pretty fond memories of actually playing Minecraft with other people. But I think the bigger problem for me with Minecraft is the company. Well, let's be honest, Microsoft/Mojang, they're just completely screwing it over. Let's be honest, it's literally what's happening. And because they're screwing it over so badly, it makes it feel like it's not really a game anymore, it's more like a service more than anything. Which is such a shame, because it is potentially one of the best sandbox games out there. Certainly, in my opinion, up there with something like Gary's Mod or... oh god, there was that other game, I can't remember the name. It's like games where you can make your own vehicles and stuff. But I'm often fascinated by sandbox games, and I don't play them much anymore. They're still fun. Like, the amount of customization you can get in them is just insanely good. So I think to really talk about issues, like, you have to look at all the controversies that have happened over the last few years, and I think the main one for me is when they start going after modders and then putting the mods on the store, so that they've basically just stolen something, claimed it as their own, and saying that it's been copyrighted because they originally made it, even though they didn't. Like, it's just real scummy stuff. And that's why I don't really play the game anymore, even though there is a incentive that makes me want to play it. Go on the multiplayer servers and just have fun. There's even like servers local to like gaming groups I like Yogscast. There's a survival place on there. That's pretty much all gone at this point, I think. That's the last time I checked it out anyway. But yeah, it's concerning for a lot of reasons, and you know, I think the biggest thing for me is obviously the lawsuits that are going on between a corporation and a person. Like, there's so much fucking wrong with that. Doesn't take a genius to figure it out. Like, it just takes common sense. Like, that's the other thing. You don't even need to look much into it to realise that's actually incredibly fucked up. Like, it's just so bad. I can't find the words to describe it. But anyway, let's talk about why I don't want to watch the movie. And I'm watching an essay on the movie from RT Game, given that he's risking this. And yeah, I'm just seeing sort of reaction, the clips, and obviously it sort of portrays the movie anyway, as he does anyway. And it's probably better to watch it this way rather than watching it by buying it or obviously going and seeing it by sitting in the seats. And yeah, like Minecraft movie in itself, I don't think it deserved a lot of the praise it got just from the reaction it had. And I'm saying that as a fan of Minecraft. That's the thing. It's not like I have any sort of deep-rooted feelings against the game itself or the IP, but it is being tarnished. Like, that's something that's unavoidable. But then it's being tarnished by the fan base. And what did the fans do? Well, when the movie came out, you probably saw all the fucking controversies around it. They're fucking trashing theatres by throwing their popcorn everywhere and for some reason abusing animals. They threw a fucking chicken into the crowd. Don't know why. Okay. It's like, that's a real telling sign that people are abusing animals and being extremely cruel. Not just to animals, but to people as well. So yeah, nobody batted an eyelid for that though, which is concerning. People preach, the animal torture is bad, animal abuse is bad. Like, what the fuck is this then? You just threw a chicken into a crowd, probably where the chicken doesn't even want to be. You're saying that this isn't an issue because it's funny? It's all sorts of fucked up. Like, Jesus, I get like minor inconveniences, like we do that to our pets all the time, like not hurt them, but it's kind of like we treat them like children, we have fun with them, we play with them, that's what it is. Throwing a chicken into a crowd, that's not playing with them. It's like throwing a dog into the fucking crowd, like switch of places. It's going to be wrong either way you put it. Which shows how bad the situation is. But as if that wasn't bad enough, it just became a cult hit. People making constant references to it. Like, I can name quite a few. I'm Steve, Flint and Steel, Lava Chicken, Chicken Jockey, and I'm pretty sure there's another one, I can't remember the other, but I know 5 from the top of my head. Possibly 100, but that's obviously the problem with this. The fact that I know the references without having seen it in itself is a problem. I've had that certainly with memes. I've found some online that just, they're memes, and I've been curious about their, whereabouts. Like, I didn't even know the Great Teacher Onizuka meme was actually from an anime. It wasn't until I watched it I was like, wait a minute. That's familiar. It's like, oh, I thought the guy looked familiar as well. It's like, oh, that explains a lot. I didn't even fucking know it. It's just an anime that I was sort of recommended to watch. So I just watched it. Jesus Christ, I just do not like the perspective that this movie has and also the impact it has on society. Like, think about it this way. If Fortnite made a movie, think about the reaction that would have. Yeah, it's pretty scary, isn't it? And this is why I don't want to support it. It doesn't matter how good or how tempting a movie is. It's just going to be bad, just based on popularity and reaction. Like, it doesn't matter how fucking good it is, as I keep saying. Like, I've seen clips from this RT video already, like 13 minutes in, that tell me that yes, it's stupid, it's funny for that, but I would argue it's not worth my time. It's not worth even my thought when it comes down to it. I just don't really like the fact that this movie exists. That's a big worry for me. And obviously we have to contend with the fact that every fucking franchise, it seems, the most popular ones probably, keep trying to make a fucking movie out of it. Keep trying to make TV shows. And it's just bad for a lot of different reasons. They can be done well, but they can be done poorly. Like, Jesus, I remember stopping the Witcher Netflix series after just season 1 because, Jesus, it's crap. Like, compared to the books provided a more vivid experience. Not to mention more entertaining as well, I'm pretty sure of that. It's just massive disappointment after disappointment. I don't really care who was playing Geralt. It's just, I couldn't really give a shit about what I was seeing. You know, I saw the old Witcher TV show from a while ago, and even though it was terrible in its own way, it had a charm to it. It actually wasn't awful, it's just, it could have been better. Like, yes, believe it or not, there was one before the Netflix series. So, I guess that's my thoughts on the Minecraft movie and sort of addressing that point. Like, why I haven't watched it, why I won't watch it. Just why it needs to fucking shut up and go away already. That's why. Just done with Minecraft for now. Until they can actually fix their shit with the games, I'm not really willing to support the games or the movie for that matter. Or even any TV show if that ever comes around to being a thing. So yeah, I'll move on. Got to crap my pants quickly. So yeah. So I think I have to re-record this and get this off my mind. I literally think I'm about to have a heart attack. I don't fucking care. At this point, nobody cares about me. But this doesn't stop me caring about others, so here we go. ICE has killed another innocent person, this time an American. Someone who did nothing wrong, other than having a gun in a holster, which wasn't even being drawn, and going to a protest and helping civilians through. People who didn't want to be there, who didn't have anything to do with this. And then he got fucking shot and killed in the back. He also got pepper sprayed as well. So he was suffering in his last moments. I guess that's good, but no. Obviously it's not fucking good. To ICE, it's good for them, because they're literally trying to overpower everyone. Trying to control the narrative, to fuck everyone over. It's so evil. I've said this since the start, I think. Literally, nobody should be killing anyone in this situation. The moment you give a gun to a fucking psychopath, don't be surprised when they go murdering people. That's it. That's basic common sense. And this is in the actual context of the term, because I see people use this in the wrong ways, but in terms of the actual term itself, common sense, again, having a sense of something that's commonly known, you don't put something evil in the hands of an evil person. That just never results in a good answer. That's exactly what's happening, and it's not surprising it happens. And I did look at a few of the comments in Charlie's video on this because of different angles. You get a lot of idiots in there as well. And a lot of the people saying it's because he was interfering, it's because he had brought a gun to a protest. Like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? The guy was helping people through traffic. You're saying the gun was the problem. That's how disconnected people are. That's how corrupt people are as well. But the people who want to see the world burn literally don't understand that it's going to fucking burn them as well. It is so stupid. They could easily be caught up in this as well. It doesn't matter who you are. It could be anyone. It's not just immigrants like they say they're trying to arrest, and obviously kill for some reason. Because anyone who disagrees with Trump, anyone who is just that corruptible to begin with, like no doubt one of the policies has probably existed in fucking ice centres other than being paid a crap ton, which itself is a sign of corruption, because he shouldn't be taking that job anyway. It's called integrity, it's called humanity. You lose it when you sign up for it. But they also probably have some policies about getting to rape kids and stuff, so, you know, let's not forget that's probably a very real fucking problem that exists there. That's probably why they do it. Yeah. But as typical as this is, because it's the same story over and over again, it seems, I think the same things still apply. You have to bully ice, you have to de-mask them, identify them, and I think we need to start putting them on our own list and start spreading that around the internet. Because literally I don't think these people should go unpunished for these crimes, like at all, anyone involved in it. I think people need to understand that when they're putting another person in a vulnerable situation, and not even doing their job for that matter, and then killing someone, everyone who was there, who was supporting this, needs to be identified. It's as simple as that. We can't trust the justice system anymore. I've been saying this for quite a few years now, but when the justice system justifies this, essentially a man who wasn't even harming anyone, who was helping people, and only had a gun in a holster, not even pulling it out, when they deem him a terrorist, that means the country is ruled by terrorists. That's simply how it is. And we have a similar thing in the UK, although it's not as severe, let's be honest. But we have a similar thing where protesters who protest to basically try and stop the genocide in Gaza are being branded as terrorists for some reason, even though there very much isn't a case where there is any terrorism, because, like, let's look at the definition of terrorism. According to Oxford, the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians in the pursuit of political aims. There's no terrorism here. It's not unlawful to use protest. Protests aren't unlawful. That was never a thing. So immediately we've already broken a law here from the UK justice system. Not us, I mean the UK themselves, like politics, police. They've already broken their own law. It's not illegal to fucking protest. Like, fuck off with that. And then there's the fact that I think this is intimidation against civilians. By what metric? Because the last I checked, Gaza isn't able to reach us, isn't able to reach anyone. So you're branding us as terrorists based on the fact that innocent people are being killed and genocided, being essentially eradicated from the face of the earth. Like, what? And this is like about talking about Israel as well, who are the ones using terrorism. They're using the unlawful use of violence, intimidation against civilians in the pursuit of political aims. Now, how much does that fucking say about the UK? It says a lot. The thing is, they will lose every single court case about this because they don't actually have any grounds for the arrests. So they're just doing this for no fucking reason. And it's only a matter of time before we get one whistleblower who says, like, oh, it's just Israel funding us. That's probably what's going to happen. But yeah, we know the situation as well. It's what's happening here. It's just absolutely atrocious behaviour. I don't think the world will get better unless people start actually making a stand. That's the only thing here. I really don't think we can get anywhere by standing still or just sitting around. You literally need to do something at this point. I think it's going to take just anything, like even risking your own life, because let's be honest as well, the other thing I've realised in thinking about the ice situation is it's better to risk your life than standing at home, but with the consequences of each. So risking your life obviously means losing your life. You won't know when it happens, you won't see when it happens probably, so it's a possibility. But the benefit is that you potentially stop ice, you potentially are the thing that stops ice. Well, not thing, but obviously person. But obviously the catalyst, that's what I mean. I can't remember the name, but you could be. Because it could be the realisation that, okay, ice is just not good, or it could be the realisation that the government is corrupt. Like, you never know. This could be the thing that starts it. But the alternative, obviously, which isn't a good one in my opinion, is sitting at home and waiting for it all to roll over, which it won't. It would just get worse. You know, we need to see streets filled with fucking protesters. We need to see people not necessarily camping outside, but living together, armed as well. Let's be honest, that needs to be happening too, because we shouldn't have unarmed civilians at this point. It's too fucking dangerous. We need people to be able to defend themselves. So literally just fight back however you can at this point. And when this comes to the UK, it'll be the same advice. You know, when we get ice here, it's literally just a case of unmask, identify, and protest. And obviously put them on the list, because nobody else is going to do it. So we just need to do that. You know, its justice system isn't working, so we have to make do. That's really where it has to happen. So yeah, I think I've said all I can, but I need to move on. This topic just fucking frustrates me. It shouldn't be happening. Yeah. South Park Season 20 is a weird one. Wait, am I due to review this? I can't remember what I got up to. Fuck. Should have text document the last one. But I'll try and review both then, if that's the case. Yeah, I need to do both. Season 19 went into political correctness stuff, and there's been some interesting episodes in that. I think it's a good season overall. And I already knew where Garrison's was heading just based on the behaviour he showed. I knew where his plot was going. The Leslie and principal stuff, I'm not sure, but yeah, but I do like it. It's a good season for sure. Certainly funny moments, certainly good moments. Obviously a bit of a spoiler, but the Tweak and Craig stuff confuses me still. Are they only together because people coerced them, or because they felt sorry for everyone? I'm confused about that. As good of an idea as it is, it's just kind of like not in great taste in my opinion. It's like, again, like the Token and Nicole one. Just, yeah, it's like forced, and it didn't really seem that genuine to me. So I'm not really sure. Although they do hold hands and hang out, that's something they still do. But I don't know, it's a bit weird to me, but yeah, I'm fine with it. That's South Park after all. You got Mecha Streisand, so what's wrong with a bit of a gay? Just gay. So yeah, the season overall was good. I should go through every episode on this, but I won't go through season 20, and I'll explain. Season 21, let's see, compare the meerkat.com, compare the market.com. No, it's not season 20, season 19. I'm an idiot, as usual. Why is Excel open as a blank? I fucking swear. Microsoft can't design things, yeah. Stunning and Brave. It's a pretty shocking episode to start with. I wasn't expecting that. But I'll go with it, sure. Let's see, episode 4, episode 3, episode 2, episode 1. That's season 18. I saw BBC World and thought, wait, they're referencing the BBC. No, that's the last one. Bear with me. Season 19, there we go, episode 1. So, yeah, it's a bad episode in my opinion because it just didn't start well, it just didn't have a message. It's a clear one at that point. I saw where it headed though, and like my perspective on it maybe has changed a bit because of the nature of the series, the season rather, of where it went. And honestly, I don't mind it, to be fair. That's not really a bad thing in my opinion. It could be done better, I think, is what I concluded. Episode 2 is a good episode and it's surprisingly still relevant. This is a scary thing about this season and what I'll get into in season 20. Episode 3, quite an interesting one, a cute ending as well, I've got to admit. I think it was the ending anyway, so with Kenny and his sister. I don't know why, but their interaction's always quite adorable. I don't know why. It's a very interesting perspective on Kenny. And what do I think of that? I said it was a good episode, question mark. It's a commentary on some things, like how people conform to the standards of society. But even though that's not something I want to preach out, actually. Episode 4, how do I expand this? Very good episode, you're not yelping. It's just very funny as an idea, and it's also quite relevant too. It's weird, but it is. It's like how people get on their high horse about writing fucking reviews and stuff. It's so weird, like they talk as if they have the authority and then treat the restaurants as if they have the authority. It's definitely worth a watch. I think it's still really fucking relevant. There's like this culture around being well reviewed, and eventually someone decides enough is enough, and yeah, I won't spoil the rest. Episode 5, really fucking good episode. Safe Space. It's actually crazy how good this episode is. I think I even made a separate point of this on my previous episode. But the reason I think this is so good is because of its drama scene, where quote unquote someone walks in. Like, it's such a good reveal, and also again really relevant. That's the crazy thing, and it's also sort of teaching you a good life lesson. I've definitely thought about this myself. It's like you need to not just get sensitive about everything, and yeah, you have to face reality eventually. But I thought it was a really fucking good episode. It's a great portrayal. And for some reason, Buzz is naked. That's all on my notes. It's just, why is everyone getting fucking naked in this show? It's so nuts to me. Unlike episode 6, which was pretty good. But as I said at the end, it's hard to tell if this is serious or not. And a funny implication at the end, that ending was fucking hilarious. Fucking kidding me. It's cursed, but funny. I want to erase it, but at the same time, I don't know. Episode 7 is a good episode, Naughty Ninjas. This was quite funny as well. It has typical Matt and Trey stuff, you'll see what I mean if you see it. I won't spoil it. It's very entertaining. Episode 8, sponsored content. A very good episode, and I think it has a good message. And also it's about trust the source, not the messenger. Which is, yeah, that's essentially it. It's like, do you trust the source or don't you? Maybe I could be wording that a bit better, but yeah, that's kind of the thing that I came to conclude with that, ironically. So, what's the next one? Episode 9, Truth in Advertising. Oh yeah. Good reveals. It's a good episode, I didn't think much of it. And then finally, episode 10. Very good episode and a good season overall. I think it's quite cool. There's a fucking line at the end with PC Principal. It's just, that was amazing. Fucking kidding me. Just one of the goofiest characters to ever fucking appear in this show, and he just does one of the most badass lines ever. It's so good. Then we go on to season 20, and there's a reason I'm not looking at the episodes for this. It's one consistent story. Basically, it's an entire movie, but over the span of like, let me math, 3 hours and 30 minutes, I'd say, total. So yeah, 3 hours and 30 minutes of literally this same story, but it's a bit different, and it's scary how well it aged. I did not predict any of this coming into the season, which is fucking crazy, and the only thing I predicted actually was Garrison's identity. I guessed that was where it's heading, because it's so similar, and I was right. You probably know what I'm talking about if you've seen a clip on this or anything related to it, because it's like, the parallels are so transparent. It's like you see the same thing, and you see it today. That's the fucking crazy thing. Everything that you saw in this season is happening. I don't know if they've got well, the terrorist group, quote unquote, as we call them, said more actually about what they're saying they're about. But they've got everything else. They've got the insanity of the people who vote. They've got the insanity of whatever it is they're fucking smoking or whatever, and even like the excessive internet culture on this, which itself is just a dangerous thing as well. But I don't know when some of the memes came out. I'm pretty sure some of them came out around this time. Again, the scary thing is just like, what's happening now? This was made in 2016, just for the record. 2017, yeah. So next season, I would say. But it aged too well as well. That's the crazy thing. And as a result, I have to review it as an entire season because it's a very consistent story, isn't it? I forgot the term. But you know, it's a story that continues and it does its thing. It continues on the last kind of, and it gets really interesting as it goes along. But it's basically like it's sort of like a Breaking Bad parody, I guess, in a weird way. But it's like for political reasons this time. Yeah, like Gerald's entire story in this is actually quite insane, and it's interesting as well. But also, just I think it's a good message as well. You know, it sort of portrays exactly what Matt and Trey do in terms of this series, and that's essentially the message as well, I guess. It's like, yeah, you know what, this fine, this stuff can be harmful, but it's also can be harmless. It's like some of it's not that serious, and sometimes you can just overstep the boundaries. It's like, yeah, obviously, I'll do a little bit of trolling here, and then the season itself is just great. Honestly, I think it's aged well. I would say it's kind of it's not a dragon necessarily, but it's something. Every episode is a bit different in some way, but also it progresses the story, and that's basically what it is. It's just a progressing story. I think there's some cursed things in it as well, weirdly enough related to Eric. Unbelievably, it's actually so fucking cursed. It's more cursed than the ending of season 19. But it's a great fucking season. I recommend people watch also 19 and 20, and potentially 21, because I have a feeling that this still goes on for a bit. I just get the feeling it does. And the way it concluded, I'm not so sure. Like, season 20 its conclusion is not very obvious to me. I don't really understand it that much. It's just a bit bizarre to me, but I do like this anyway. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this. It's a sort of review I have. Also, feel free to watch. I don't really have any sort of warnings or precautions with this. I guess if you're like politically sensitive, maybe avoid it, because it does feel a bit dystopian, but I don't know. It's really not that bad. There were some good jokes here and there. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that, and let's move on. So it's high time, low time, maybe, that I have this discussion. I don't know if I've already done it, but I'll reiterate other things I've said here. Because I definitely was thinking about this. I remember talking about that a while ago about the use of words in terms of how offensive it could be to use certain words. And yeah, I got to think about this because of South Park, but also just my usage and my response to it over the years. Thinking about how I phased out terms like, let me see, Neanderthal and retardant, and what's the other one? Ah, fuck, I can't remember. It's probably something like. Oh, that was it. Forgetful. But in all seriousness, I'm thinking about basically what I've seen from South Park and whether there is a legitimate use for these words, other than the joking side of it. But I don't really think that South Park is offensive, and that's what I want to focus on. Because I think to be offensive, it needs to be in line with the definition, as I follow this quite closely. And yes, it's a bit cliche, I know. People are a bit tired of hearing, oh, this is what the definition of it says. But people literally do not understand these fucking words. I look them up, I reference them, and I try to follow them as accurately as possible from the source, as accurately as possible. As far as I know, the source in this case is like Oxford Dictionary. And there isn't any way around that, to be fair. Like, that's gonna always be the first thing that comes up, and I don't know where the fucking tab has gone. If I can had it open. Definition of terrorism? Oh yeah, I did look that up. Briefly. I can't find it for some reason. Oh wait, maybe it's access denied? No? What the fuck is... Oh no, what is happening? But, yeah, definition of offensive. How's it? My mind blank again. So it says, by definition, causing someone to feel resentful, upset, or annoyed. For some reason, resentful is the only one with definition. I keep forgetting what this means. It means feeling or expressing bitterness or indignation at having been treated unfairly. So yeah. But the second definition is attacking, actively aggressive, attacking. And then there's another one. Oh yeah, obviously the military version. Fucking only offensive. So it's really a discussion about this, I think. And it's kind of important, to be fair. I don't think it's something that should be ignored. Because there is obviously a niche to this, and if you haven't figured out the niche, is that when it comes to South Park, they're trying to piss people off, and not necessarily offend people, but just piss people off, regardless of who you are. And honestly, that's like one of the most respectable things. I think that's honestly incredible. The fact there's a show willing to go to these lengths to mock something or make fun of something, or even just spread a message, is insane. Just look at the band episodes, the Muhammad episodes. It's pretty much all the band episodes are about, so I'm curious what some of the later ones are. I saw that season 27 had one, and season 22, so I'm interested in what that was. Hopefully I can find a way to watch it uncensored. It's like, there's so many interesting moments like that in this series, and you know, I do admire the fact they go that length. Like, honestly, it's not bad. I think we should be encouraging more discussion around these sort of things. It's really not as taboo as people make it out to be. And in my opinion, as someone who's one of the demographics that is supposedly supposed to be offended, being a somewhat progressive person, although not with a political leaning because it's stupid at this point. There's no fucking point, you don't know who to trust. But I just claim to be progressive and focus my attention on understanding things and my intention of it as well. So it's both. And that's where I lie with that. In terms of the usage of words, like, I even hear people still say the word tranny every now and then to refer to trans people, to transgender people, and even terms like transsexual. Like, these terms change over time, but I don't think they're necessarily used in the bad way when people mention them. There are cases, let's not forget that, but at the end of the day, I think it is really kind of trivial when you think about this. Because you need to understand that people are just going to be assholes anyway, even if there's a bad intent, there are going to be assholes, is what I'm saying. And that's something you can't exactly change that easily. I think that's still going to be a problem for people. It is a kind of difficult thing to change, in all honesty. But it's mainly because of upbringing and also because of how they've been treated, and that's often why people can resort to that. It's childish, yeah, I think we all know that. They know that probably as well, but they want to stay children, so whatever, who cares? But when they start using this in actions, it's a problem. This is where I think we make the big difference between offense. When it does become the military sense of offense, that's when it's a problem. Or rather militant. I think that still applies, doesn't it? Militant? I'm pretty sure it does. And that's the issue. But when it's used in South Park's case, it's not like it is used militant. So I'll give an example of militant in my own terms, and by the way, I'm pansexual. Like, tattoo that on yourself, so you know. Yeah, like, these people saying that, like, an example, like you're a faggot and then starting to beat you up because of it. Like, there's no warrant for that. There's nothing that warrants that. It is atrocious. Because the intent there is they're going to use that word to attack you and call you out, label you as that. When you seriously have a name and you have a life, obviously, you want to live, and as long as you're not doing harm, like, you're only innocent if you're the victim, obviously, then you're not doing harm. If you're doing harm, well, it's still bad to use the word in that context. It's like when people misgender a trans person, it's still horrible. Because even if the trans person is someone who's a complete arsehole, or like South Park did it, then, you know, it's still bad, because you're being bigoted. You're not respecting someone enough. That's a dangerous part of this shit, really. Like, if you're not respectful, that's when it's a problem, and that's when I think it becomes offensive. Because there's, like, no respect. No respect for yourself, and no respect for the person who's being branded, whatever this is, whatever term it is. And that's the problem. So that's obviously an offensive use of it. But when I call myself, say, a faggot, that's not to insult me, it's just to reclaim the word as my own. So that people know that they can't actually get to me by using it in the offensive way. So it's like a way to prove them wrong as well, to piss them off. Ironically, I did this before watching South Park, which is honestly incredible. It's something I sort of thought about years ago with the whole that vegan teacher bullshit. Like, I don't know if anyone remembers that, but she used to say the word Neanderthal. No, she actually said the N-word, like, literally. And she said to reclaim it as like a beautiful word, which is not a bad idea. But the fact it comes from her, rather than the community who is directly referred to when in context with that word, associated with it rather, not context, like, it comes off as tone deaf, and that's why I genuinely disagree with it. I agree with the idea, but I don't agree with it because it's actually from a white person, and I'd rather hear it from someone who is obviously not a white person, someone who's actually the I forgot the word I used for some reason. Not context, associated with. Yes. So that's more important. In the same way, like, even South Park did this. Weirdly enough, they actually had an episode about Jimmy using the word retarded in the newspaper in season 19, I think it was. Yeah, it has to be. That was the ad one. And PC Principal, literally brought him up on this, and I think even tried to get Nathan involved to somehow get back at him in some crazy way. What's interesting is he didn't find it offensive. It's like, I can't remember the reason, but he gave a reason why it's not offensive. And then Nathan, obviously being against Jimmy, is kind of like, yeah, I find it offensive. But again, everyone's different. And I think it's better to just be more creative with your words rather than trying to use something that already exists. But again, I think the usage of these words doesn't really have a place. That's my only real argument here. And to take offence to existing words itself is a bit dumb, because I think you can just change the definition to mean what you want. It doesn't fucking matter anymore. I guarantee you if I look at the N-word, there's probably going to be a definition there for referring to someone of the same race as a friend. Like, that's probably one of the definitions, let's be honest. And the other one is obviously going to be derogatory. And I forget about that word. Derogatory. Showing a critical or disrespectful attitude, yeah, literally. But those are the two meanings. I think obviously we all prefer the one that doesn't mean derogatory. So it's important to always keep in mind. So I guess the straight answer for should we be offended by this thing? Should we find South Park offensive? No. And also in line with the definition of offensive, causing someone to feel resentful, upset, or annoyed. Like, yeah, I guess some people will be. But that's unavoidable, especially with any fucking term you use. It doesn't even have to be these specific slurs or derogatory terms. It can literally be something else. It could be a term. That's offensive. Terms are going to be more offensive than a fucking word like faggot. Just objectively saying. Like, trust me on this, bro. It's so fucking bizarre to me that sometimes political correctness can actually go that far as to where you can't actually say the word black, when people out there are still using really fucking racist terms, saying like blackies as one example. Again, this is an example, I'm not using it myself, I won't ever fucking use it, but people do say that, and it's fucking horrific. Yeah, that's a term that is derogatory, a phrase rather, not term, phrase. Got it mixed up for a second there. That's why it's so important. We can't ignore this shit. There's a difference, obviously. Pay attention to that difference. That's what needs to happen here. So I do think it's a necessary step in order to just improve humanity in general. I think the world could benefit from a lesson like this, to be fair. Even if they do a recent episode like that, that'd be great if they did that. And merely this is like 2017 South Park I'm getting into, and things started to change, obviously, with 2016 being the year of political correctness. But again, we can make steps to change things, to make things better for each other, for everyone else, for anyone affected by this crap even. And for the people who are offended, obviously provide the advice that everyone else is saying, that I've been saying, about trying not to take it as offensive, and instead doing something rational with it, making it mean something pretty nice, and making it mean something different to what they intended it to be. I think that's really important. Whenever I hear terms nowadays, I'm not like, I used to be quite like, oh, you can't say that, you can't say something like schizo or autist, even though autistic people refer to themselves as autist, but others were using it derogatively, and saying, haha, autist, you're literally one of them. Like, great, that's not a great phrase to use, but sure. I don't really care. I've had all sorts of insults even about my voice, like, I don't even care. I've heard people say that I need to get the burger out of my mouth or the dick out of my mouth. No thanks, I'm quite happy with them being there. They're quite tasty. I'm not a cannibal, I swear. But it might be a cannonball because I'm some fat fuck. Like, that's pretty obvious on my voice. So I don't know. What do I even add here? That's just my answer, really. Again, to sum it up, it depends on whether it's used derogatively or not. At the same time, we need to better equip people to understand it, to overcome it. Like, it's making a comeback, so I'll say that. So to go into another discussion, but that is another thing that's happening, unfortunately. I've already seen it with reform voters in the UK, for example, where people are referring to, like, what is it, Palestinian people's like watermelons for some fucking reason, because the flag looks like a watermelon. Like, are you kidding me? If that's not derogative, like, what the fuck is? Jesus Christ. And really, my best advice, obviously, in line with that, take it as a compliment. Well, honestly, watermelon was not my favourite fucking fruit in reality. It's a fruit regardless. It's one that people enjoy. People get joy from it. Like, again, you can reclaim it to mean something good. And I think that's pretty important, to be honest. That's what matters here. So, yeah, I'm trying to think of the other things. Why is it? Like pussy liberals, I've seen people call each other fags as well. Like, for some reason, this is a weird thing about reform voters. They're so stupid they don't actually know many slurs. That's a weird thing. It's actually quite funny because you could start calling them that instead, which is actually not a bad idea. You're all a bunch of fags. Why not? Let's go with that. Reform voter fags, okay. No. That's just singing to their lows, to be fair, so no, I don't agree with that. But they are stupid enough that they probably pass over their head as well. That's the thing, it's like, not necessarily about being smarter than them, it's just about proving a point. It's like when people say that you're too sensitive to these topics, it's like, fuck off. You know, nobody's too sensitive, it's you, more than likely. So it just doesn't work out in the end. They're often in the wrong here. That's like the main issue, I suppose. I'm trying to think. What else is there I can mention? I think I've actually got everything. Yeah, so I'll end this in a second when I've done this bit of the raid fight. There's a break in between. Yeah, so that's the topic. So let's move on. I've got an interesting one coming up, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, it's about my series. I'm thinking of changing it. So let's get on with that and do that. So I was sitting there last night. Well, I was actually sitting there, but I was laying in my bed. Is that normal? I don't think so. But I was thinking about how most of the shows I've seen and /love do something completely different to everyone else, and it's like a gimmick, even the ones that are not animated, which weirdly enough is an unusual thing for me. It's true. Literally, they are doing something different, usually, and that's what hooks me in. You know, even though I have my criticisms about Squid Game, I still kind of respect it as a story. It's kind of interesting. Even if the games and the acting might not be as good, but yeah, that's the thing. Like, actually, believe it or not, like Squid Game, I was quite unsure about. Just it creeped me out at first, but then I sort of realised, like, well, actually, this is kind of stupid. Like, none of this makes much sense. So I just didn't care. I was thinking about my own series, what I'm going to do with that if and when I get around to it, which is probably months away at this point. I'm trying to rush my current animation thing, and I'm only doing like 1 or 2 frames per day, which isn't fucking good. Honestly, I wish I could do more. I need to find a way to get that bit better without looking shit as well. That's the thing. So whenever I draw, it's always turning out shit. There's not much I could do about it. Even the sketch doesn't help, so it doesn't work. But yeah, thinking about my series Events of Turn, where I obviously was planning to make a template of characters, I realised that I might have to change everything. And I'm thinking of something really different. I'm not even joking. I had an idea last night that might itself, I think it was this morning maybe, I might be misremembering. It's like so different that I think it has the potential to just do really well from that alone. And it's changing the fundamental nature of it, for sure. Like, I'm gonna have to somehow incorporate sci-fi elements. But it's a different idea, and I don't know if it actually exists. Because every single fucking time I see a TV show, you've got humanoid characters. The first idea I had years ago that I sort of scrapped as an idea was having characters that are just not humanoid in the slightest. And then I realised it sort of removes the sort of oh, is it? Oh, I forgot the fucking term, but like removes that sense of humanity, I guess, for lack of the correct term. And it just didn't run right with me. Because if I was just designing a bunch of blobs or misshaped creatures, like, what does that fucking do? Like, what can you do that isn't inspired by real life that doesn't look like complete shit? And I don't think you can do that, to be honest. But the other idea I had that's got a lot of potential, which I only again realised today, is having animal characters in an adult show. Just fucking imagine it. I think it'd be kind of incredible. It's got the potential, and on top of that, it being fantasy as well, which is all my plan, adds to that just mysterious nature of it. Again, it does have a lot of potential. It might even be something that gains people's attention. And I don't really know a show that's even doing like animal voice characters and animations in that way. Although I wouldn't do animations, I'll just do like concept art, but I'm sort of better at drawing animals, I guess, than drawing like humans. It's just weird. But there's ways to make it even creative as well. Because past just the character animal concept, why don't I also just draw it in a way where I combine them? I literally have this world where it's like a fucked up fantasy world and have characters literally crossbreeding. Like becoming these weird creations a bit inspired by Final Fantasy XIV here. But they become crazy amalgamations, like is even a way to get furries in this. Like, in a weird fucking turn of events. But my fucking god, it's a weird concept, but I think it could work in the weirdest way. That's sort of the idea. It's like it's such a fucked up world, like Events of Turn actually is. I'm going to spoil that now. It's just a fucked up world. It's so dystopian. I literally hinted at this in the first comic paint I did. And yeah, I think there's a lot of potential there. I can imagine like foxes mixed with rabbits or something. Or just, I don't know, elephants mixed with, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of something completely different. As an animal, like with tigers, I don't know. You know, instead of fighting them, we join them. It's just a fucking elephant-tiger hybrid. Like, come on. You can't tell me that's not unique. That'd be insanely good, and probably funny as well. You know, it's like taking the animal kingdom and putting a spin on it where it's dark, yeah. But it can also be fucking goofy and interesting. You know, and because it's animal as well, you could literally get away with a fucking murder and apocalyptic concepts and even just genocide, like fucking hell. It'd be as adult as it comes, I think. A lot of it you just get away with because it's animals. There's a weird sort of loophole I found with this as well. That makes it even more fucking nuts. Imagine as well, like, I think of even a joke about cold incest. Fucking. Because characters can't tell each other apart. It's like, oh, what are you, my sister? Uh-oh. Like, fuck me. It's stupid, but it'd be kind of funny at times, for sure. Like, it's definitely bordering sort of between, like, in terms of offensiveness or just ideas, I think, like, between South Park and something like Simpsons, I guess. Because I have the Simpsons humour, but I have also the inspiration now to just go the extra mile and be kind of offensive, be kind of a dick about it to an extent, about things that happen in this world. But it being a fantasy sort of idea as well is inspiring because I'm not really too familiar with sci-fi. I'll admit. The idea of Events of Time anyway it was millions of years old. As per humanity evolving into like a Homo novus, I think I called it. I looked it up as like the next stage of evolution. And I think that was what came up, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah. But I could somehow incorporate that into this fantasy world with animal characters. It'd be pretty unique, even though it's not my style. It's definitely not my style. Again, I could possibly find ways to do it. Yeah. And also because it's like kind of cartoony as well, it's like different. Sure. Again, the hybrids would add to that. So, I don't know. It's something I'm thinking about rather than executing right away. But I think it does allow for much better sort of expressions of some things, and even just it allows for relatability, even though it's just the animal kingdom. It does sort of, I guess, help people make a connection in a way. Makes them think that maybe animals do feel the same way we do, even with all the shit that's going on in it. Like, there's probably so many different things. And I think I would include humans into that, obviously, because they could be shown doing some evil shit. Literally. And they could also do things in a humorous way. Like the animals are judging the fucking humans from a distance. Like, why are you fucking recording me? And even like the pets as well, like, Jesus Christ. There is so much opportunity to do something here, like, oh, what do you do all day in there, Rex? Hump cushions. The usual. The dogs hump cushions now. Yeah. Like, again, it's possible to make it relatable. Just funny as well. That's a crazy thing. But anyway, I better move on from this. Just wonder if people have any thoughts about that. I think it could be really interesting as an idea. It's trying to be different. That's the point of it. It's just something a little different. I am actually really onto something with that idea. So hold the thought. But I'm going to open the thought now. So, I was literally thinking about this, and I realised there's so much fucking potential in this, not only to be different, but to just be something completely bizarre and fucking wacky. But not to mention meaningful. As I said, I sort of describe it as a mix between South Park and The Simpsons. But I'd also add in a third power anime, or rather that version that's for like teens, I think you know what I'm talking about. That's what a lot of the animes are, that's what Death Note is. It's obviously a manga that's designed for teenagers. And honestly, I think with like the power concepts that they have in some of those, or at least like Hunter x Hunter or One Piece, there's so much potential in that, and I'm wondering how to apply that in fantasy. I haven't got an idea yet, but I think I'm very fucking close to it. But as for like some of the gimmicks I thought up of already, for starters, I don't want any animal to be normal. That's the thing. I think it would be a very missed opportunity to have animals just act like they normally do. These are talking fucking animals to begin with, and they're going to sound like people. And I think it's going to be really interesting. But the power dynamic I had in mind was like a spell learning system, which is quite simple on the outset, but I'll make the acquisition really difficult because it requires many different ways to get out there. And as a fascinating twist, I think I'd allow dragons and dinosaurs for that matter. You know, it's like everything all at fucking once. This seems to be insane. It's an idea that's, I think, got so much potential, and I haven't seen it done yet. That's the other thing. I'm yet to see anything do anything remotely like this. I think I'll make the main character based on, say, my favourite animal characters in franchises, or at least animal-based characters. And there'll be some heavy messages as well, like there'll be wars between two species, obviously. Be wars between all species in that matter. I think it's got so much good that can happen to it. So I'm looking forward to sort of exploring it a bit more in the future. I'm not going to explore it now at this moment. There's way too much to focus on. I might set aside some time in the evenings to explore this. The only things that are really going to transfer from that to this new series, I suppose, is like the jokes and some of the story points I have, because there are some pretty clever story points, I think, in Events of Turn. Like the actual ending I had for that is fucking insane. Like, I'll spoil the ending when, or if I get round to this, for End of Events of Turn, that is. It's honestly the craziest fucking ending I've ever seen. And that says something, because I've seen some really good fucking endings for shows. I think Dark ended in an interesting way, Breaking Bad obviously ended really well. But I'm really thinking further than that, further than even something like Saving the World. It's actually kind of crazy, it even somehow triumphs the Futurama ending, which itself was clever and also neat. So yeah, and I think it's just insane in how it's sort of done. I suppose it's similar to some endings, I guess. I think there are actually shows or TV or movies like that, rather, that kind of mimic the ending I'm thinking of. I don't know for certain. But yeah, I got look forward to exploring this idea. So it will be fascinating. I doubt I'll be able to get like a second writer or anything, but it would be great if it was, I guess. Yeah, like, I'm trying to think of like some of the humour and also personalities. Like, how would I do it without sounding offensive? Like, do I make a certain dog species sound Chinese or what? Like, that's sort of the things I'm thinking of to make it a bit more adult. Just make it more interesting as well as diverse, obviously. So yeah, I don't know. It's sort of a tough call to make on that perspective. It does allow for so many different things to happen, again, because it's fantasy. But the crazy thing as well, this is the fourth thing rather, I think it's going to have to be a bit like Pokemon. I'm not even joking. So Pokemon basically has a very dark lore when you look at the sort of world around it. It's not as it seems, it's not as cute and cuddly as you think. It's actually quite dark. And I'm thinking of doing something like that. Basically you have all the fucking abilities, so it's like a spell learning process, so it's like magic and that, and also physical strength. And that's like how they get their power. So it's really unique in that case, I guess. I just look forward to exploring it too, because that's going to have a lot of potential. I keep saying that. It actually is. It's just going to be fun as well. Because I think there isn't really much else like that out there. Spell learning thing is quite simple to wrap your head around. But it's also effective because that gives you room to explore types of spells. And that's maybe an insane fucking twist. It could even be like buffs, for example. like literally just designed almost like a video game. But there are spells that aren't just offensive and nobody specialises in anything. It's like you bring out spells that you just don't even know existed. I was trying to think, I don't know what they could be, but even the spells that are just like funny or interesting. I imagine a spell that fucking spawns a dildo. It's like stupid like that. It'd be genius, but funny. I'm not sure how or where people stand on like the idea of sort of animal sexual behaviours being portrayed, but I don't know. Like this is sort of one way to explore that idea, but also it's like South Park has already done so many things that's just offensive and objectively questionable. They show kids' penises on there. Well, not real ones obviously. But that's one of the common things that happens on it. And then if they do it, it's like, well, what's stopping us from doing these things as well? If because it's animals, it's almost like it just matters much less. Could be wrong on that. I'm going to tell my mind changed, but in terms of exploring that aspect, it doesn't seem that wrong to me. Especially with like how animals age and stuff. Like, what's the oldest age of, I don't know, a fox, for example? Because there's definitely going to be foxes. It's probably going to be quite a few years, the same as like canines. And I think that's really important to acknowledge because people will be criticising it, saying like, these characters are too fucking young or something, but they're not. In animal years, they don't fucking care. There's no such thing as, you probably know what I'm thinking anyway. You know, they don't have barriers. In that case, they don't really have communication, although it does exist in this world, that's the thing. But don't mistake it for being like, oh, it's just some pervy fucking fantasy. It's not what it is. They wouldn't want it to be anyway. I fucking hate those. They're awful. That's part of the reason that certain shows just become unfunny. Like, I can't even try to think, like, through trauma, definitely struggled with that. For me, it's a struggle to watch through. I don't know if it just made sexual references and stuff. It's like, fuck off. It's not fun, it's not interesting. There's so many creative ways to actually make it better. Yeah, they chose that. I'm trying to think of others, like what else is there? There are like creative applications of like sexual humour. You ever seen Metalocalypse? Metalocalypse, they literally had an episode where they tried to fucking discover how they could suck their own dick. Like, come the fuck on, that is funny. It is also clever as well, especially given the context of the show. I miss Metalocalypse, it's amazing. I did see they made a new movie on it, I think, but I don't know. We need Metalocalypse now more than ever, to be honest. Like, fuck, imagine Metalocalypse at a concert for Trump or something. That'd be funny. It's just fucking kill everyone, including Trump. It'd be amazing as like a concept, a story. That's enough about Metalocalypse. That'd be funny though as a concept. They need to do that. They'd make a lot of fucking new fans, no doubt. Yeah. Trying to think what else I could add here. I don't think there is. Obviously, it's going to be about various topics. It's not just going to be like the usual anime power fantasy thing, or like the mix of four. As I said, I'm also going to be trying to actually like push the boundary. That's essentially what I'm going to try and do with this as well. It's like pushing the boundary because like, that's the thing. Like, without going into the specifics, but the adult topics, like of everywhere, like even just something like existence and just the very fact that we don't know what the fuck it is. Well, that in itself is a heavy and especially dystopian topic. It's dystopian because you really cannot fucking get your head around what it is. It's not even worth thinking about. That's how I managed to get away from it. It's literally existential crisis. But yeah, I love the idea of exploring these things in this show. I'm literally thinking of like faction wars, species wars, like political stuff. Like, come on, it's definitely possible. And I think the main character, as I said, like animals have to be like standing up and stuff. I think like main characters act like politicians and everything like that, and even characters with different love interests or strokes, literally. And you know, they drink, although they're not drinking alcohol, because obviously it's shit, but they're drinking like sparkling drinks and that's getting them drunk. It's like, oh, that's different. But it's like magic infused, so it's like, oh, you're just getting the effect of drinking but from a magical source. Like, this is the point. That's what opens it up to so many possibilities. On top of the fact that you've got standing animals that talk to each other. I come the fuck on, that is. If that's not a good idea, I don't know what is. Well, that just doesn't make sense. Honestly, at this point, I think it should be Hoyover for Hoyoverse. Not that, at least because of the catch-up, also because of how shit the game design is. And I swear, even while watching the Genshin Impact Arc Conquest in Montcroy, I'm just still there thinking, like, what the fuck? Like, I can appreciate that they do new things with, like, Llama having that stag form and Columbina having that unique walk. And even though I'm not playing the game anymore, I'm just like, observing it from distance as everyone should. It's just not very good. The character design is shite. And the story taking this long to get there in itself is a big atrocity. So yeah, let me talk about the character design and why I think it's some of the most uncreative fucking things to ever come out of Hoyoverse. So obviously the niche with Hoyoverse games is that it's anime. And they've got a unique art style in that sense, because it's not like complete anime, it doesn't always look the same. It's very interesting in that sense, I guess, because you can see the differences. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I've noticed myself. But when it comes to designing characters, over the years they've just gotten extremely stale. And when you compare them side by side, like, you know, if I pull up, for example, I want to open up, let me do a side by side. Can you even do like 3 windows? That'd be interesting. So, Genshin Impact characters and Game 8, maybe? Yeah, I'll do Game 8. Characters, does this done? Yes, it does. Then let's do Honkai Star Rail together. Honkai Star Rail on character. Yeah, as well. Yeah, there it is. I forgot about the Fate collab. Okay, Windows doesn't allow grouping for multiple windows, it seems. It's just weird. It feels like you need to have that for some people. You know, they do these dual windows, but they don't do the fucking triple windows or just custom mounts. So it's a bit odd to me. And the last one's in the Zone Zero, the one I've never touched. Characters. Game 8. And there we go. So, like, the thing is, Zelda Zone Zero has the best character design from what I've seen. And that in itself is commendable for a few reasons. I don't think it's the most amazing character design I've seen, but it is certainly up there in my opinion. But like, all these characters, like, until Zelda Zone Zero, they just all look the same. Honkai Star Rail looks like it could have been in Genshin Impact, and vice versa. Then Zelda Zone Zero, they've actually done something different. But they've actually changed things there. Now, I don't even know what half these characters are, what even their story is. Like, from Piper through to, see, Kalida. Then you got Sukaku, who's like a fucking Oni. Like, through and through Oni. At least that's what I think of anyway. Like blue face, like different skin colour. You got that. I mean, it's obviously a niche thing, but it's still cool. And then you got Ben. Ben is a motherfucking bear. Like, come on, why are you not doing this for the other games? And you got Lycan, I don't know how you say him. He's like a fucking wolf. And Anson looks quite unique. Like, I gotta look at this actually. Like, this character does have a different appearance to the typical Hoyoverse style. Like, it actually looks like he's from a different anime. And then you got some of the more generic characters again. You've got Billy, who seems to be masked. And all the way through it's sort of the same thing. But it got different eyes, I noticed. A bit different to the Hoyoverse style. Gotta imagine if it wasn't the Hoyoverse game. It'd be embarrassing. Yeah, it just changed up the style on this. It's just noticeable. And then you got later on Pan Yinu, Drew fucking Panda. So that's great. Got Furry Guy, got Banyu, I don't know who that is. It's supposed to be. And so yeah, like, the character design in this is good, but it could be better as well. And one of the things that could make it better, obviously, is like a different player model for things. Like, obviously, they got the animal characters who seem very interesting, but they could do with more sort of like facial features, like obviously glasses, or actually, there was a character with glasses, but even something like facial hair, like beard. Like, they need characters with that to make it even remotely different, because it does feel a bit out of place when all your characters are just like shaven, bulbous. Well, wait, that's another thing. But shaven, bulbous, and clean. Like, this is too common in these other games here. Like Ship Style. You know, every single character, even just based on the portrait alone, it's not just like the outfit, it's the portrait that's the main issue. And then they just start looking the same. Like, you can easily mix, like, from a distance, Farina and Jing Liu. For example, like these side by side, I'm already seeing a similarity. Like, they've got a similar hairstyle, not the same, but similar. They can easily confuse them. Like, even going into Hogwarts Star Rail's collab, where they have the fake characters, it's not even that different. And they've only added Archer, Saber, that's it, just those two. I was expecting more from that collab, to be honest. I was half hoping for Gilgamesh or something. I don't know. So yeah, like, even go through Genshin's recent designs, there was not really anything different. Again, it just feels quite disappointing. Yeah, I look at this and see just characters who start looking the same. Like, Inefa looks like Eula. Sabai looks like fucking Lingua. Are you kidding me? It's just ridiculous. How you could tell, like, Jehoda and Nefer, apart from everyone else, and even Lava to an extent, everyone else just starts to look similar. And that's one of the big problems. It's not just because of features on them. Obviously, Nefer's like a robot, so you can probably tell that apart. But she looks like Mizuki. What the fuck? You can tell it's just getting lazier and lazier. There is actually no way that people are just gonna enjoy these characters. And I think if people don't realise these are bad, then I think they're blind. It's as simple as that. I was thinking about talking about this a while ago and decided not to for some reason. I really thought about it, and yeah, genuinely the character design is not good, and there's also the issues of the player model as well, which I briefly mentioned earlier. Why does every character have to be the same fucking models? Like, come on. You could do things for the game that optimise it, and yet you're just ignoring that. It just doesn't make sense. It's just extremely disappointing every time I come across this shit. It's so lazy. They just seem very incapable of making proper character design. I just wish they'd do something different for once. I don't know, even make a non-humanoid character for once. That would get my attention. Other than obviously the animal characters, I don't really count because they're all sort of humanoid anyway, given that they're playable characters. Having someone that's different, like I don't know, a blob. Let's just say a fucking blob at this point, or an alien. You know, that'd be unique. I think that'd provide a lot of opportunity and also just grab a lot of attention. It'd be different. It'd be unique. And I don't think people would be mad about it. They might not pull on it for sure, but that's to experiment with. Make it a 4-star. Well, actually, maybe not a 4-star because let's be honest, acquiring a 4-star is shite. It's not a fun process unless you have obviously a pity counter in the game, which you really need at this point. But I think that's very important. So yeah, I don't really know what else to add. I've got another topic to discuss, and I'll do that in a second. So, I've been thinking about this for a while actually, and about how it relates to my situation, about why I quote unquote stopped being vegan. And obviously the truth of that is that I still prescribe to the philosophy of veganism. It's just so I don't label myself as vegan. And while I will mention I do want something vegan, I'll say I'm not associated with the label, and that's really the point. So I wanted to discuss this a bit, to explain it a bit further. I think people will immediately assume a lot of things when they hear the term vegan, and one of the biggest problems is that people will just dismiss it for some reason, without actually exploring it, without actually picking their own brains or being open-minded. Maybe also becomes a massive issue. But people really need to understand that you can't have these fucking assumptions about people, especially about the labels that people have, because that is a dangerous mindset. And the thing you end up having with that is you end up regretting the fact that you had that assumption when you discover it's not actually true. It's important to do your own research and important to look at the facts. It's like really interesting. I think that's really important for people to understand. So I'm just trying to think, like, also the reason I started not associating isn't because of necessarily the bad name, but rather I wanted to prove to people that you didn't have to be under the label to prescribe to the philosophy of veganism. You just simply have to be a consistent person. And obviously by that I mean following that definition through and through. And I'm sure people might assign the label to you, but you don't even have to accept it. That's the thing about this. It's not a requirement, it's just an option. And this is something I realised after 5 years of being vegan. I think it's actually been my vegan anniversary, 5 years now. I think it was like January 16th I went vegan again in 2020. No, 6 years. Fucking hell. So it has been a while. And I've obviously done fairly well for the most part. Like, health-wise, I don't know if much has changed. I think mentally I'm about the same as it usually was back in that time. Physically, certain things have changed. Like, I'm still not able to lose weight. I was losing weight, but because of my Crohn's disease. I don't know where the Crohn's disease came from. That's another mystery for me. I've tried to explore it and no answers. I can't figure out what it is. It's not FODMAP, it's not anything. So yeah, from what I can tell though, it's about stress. I've noticed this actually just the past few weeks. I had a really stressful week, or a week or two ago. And then obviously it creeps up on me, because that's how stupid the body is. It creeps up on you and gives you all the symptoms you should experience in that moment, but there and then. But well, here and now, rather than there and then. So I don't know what that's about, but the stress was very much a contributing factor to it, so it wasn't to do with the food. And even then it has to be substantiated, because people make these claims all the time, and they're not always true, because people don't back it up with fucking evidence. And as well as vitamins, the only thing I've ever been lacking in is probably iron. But that's it. Like, as far as I know, I'm already doing so much better than a lot of people who eat meat and animal products. Because people think they're full of vitamins, but the reality is they're not always full of it. And then even if they are, they have the fucking trade-off. Like the fact that it's so unhealthy. It's quite annoying to see that every now and then. It's like people defend this, and you're defending corporations as well. Let's not forget that. Like, corporations are not your fucking friends, even in the context of plant-based alternatives. They're not. The problem when you defend them is you enable this sort of behaviour where they can pick on whoever they want, shut down whoever they want. I can't tell you the amount of times over these years that dairy companies have bought out vegan products only to discontinue some of them. I mean, it's not that common anymore, but it does seem like a strategy they're trying to move towards, with the only company with enough surviving that is probably Alpro. I saw a brand like Follow Your Heart, which I really liked initially. I tried a few things of theirs, it's actually really good. Probably the horseradish was one of the best things, and the mayo's quite good. But yeah, they seem to not be selling themselves anymore, which is weird. It's like they don't exist in the UK. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, it's better to support these random brands than it is to support a company as corrupt and evil as the meat industry, the dairy industry, or egg industry, and anything that exploits animals, basically. So I want to finish this with saying something I came up with, and I think it's something that I'll put in comment sections. I suppose the other thing I would mention is the other reason I don't associate with the label, so I can tell people to just stop being idiots, literally. It's not a position of thinking of myself quite highly. I literally don't. Like, fuck, I've literally got 2 wounds on my hand and I'm not treating it. So I don't really care. But I'm actually just trying to do the right thing for others. It's always been my goal since quite a few years ago. Back when I had my mental health breakdown, I started to reflect on things. I had a lot of realizations and realised I needed to change the way I think about things and feel it, and needed to become a better person. That's what's led me here today. On top of that, I needed to think smarter rather than harder, so I also started doing that. And also it's led me here, where I can now disassociate from a label and literally claim that I'm not vegan, so people have to listen and realise how embarrassing they sound. So, and it's all about consistency. But anyway, the quote I thought of to sort of reflect what I'd say is, for people who are on the fence about this sort of thing, I'd say you don't need to be under the label of vegan to prescribe to veganism. You just have to be consistent with it. Although I did right, you just have to have the consistency for it. It's terrible. The first one was better. But I think that's really important. Because it's not about the label, it's not about thinking of yourself as being an outcast if you do make a mistake, because let's be honest, we all do. It's not very commonly said, but people do make mistakes. Sometimes there is a case of temptation, but I'd argue it's more of a problem of corruption or greed, usually. Also, maybe the lack of tools, that's the other thing, because I was technically an ex-vegan at one point, not during these 6 years, but it's actually years before, like 2016. Yeah, like, all you have to do is be consistent about it and just not make excuses. That's all it takes to prescribe to this, to not exploit animals, to simply live in a better world for the climate, for health, for the environment. And the thing is, you can also just, because you disassociate from these things, you can also literally avoid a lot of the scrutiny. Whenever there's an article that usually prescribes people the label of veganism, well, not veganism, but vegan, two different things, by the way, then you can actually just disassociate from it. You're not being targeted in there. So that in itself makes it more difficult for people to even make a point against you, to get back at you for whatever reason. So it's quite effective from what I can tell. Again, I could be wrong, but that's what I believe. That's my thoughts on this topic and expanding on it. So if it's helpful to some people, let's move on. Random topic, probably only interests some people. So a while ago, obviously, I bought some new fucking new equipment, say, and there's food, obviously. So I bought my own pots, pans, and my own plates and bowls, and a cutlery. This is primarily to avoid the fact that my other housemate is just not good with that sort of stuff. Literally lets food dry up on the fucking thing, and it gets really annoying. And every time I go to pick up a plate, at least back then, you know, I just find bits of food stuck to it, which is just gross. I couldn't fucking stand it for much longer. So I ended up getting my own stuff in the end, and I'm glad I did, to be fair, because things only seem to get worse, and yeah, I'm just glad. So I think I need to talk about, obviously, the experience of that. I think it's been good for me overall. The only frustration is that the fucking old housemate can't tell the difference between black cutlery and silver cutlery. No surprise, but at the same time, I just wish things would be fucking left alone. Like, people have to do their own jobs. Like, when there's something on the side that nobody's cleaned up, that's not your job. Clean up your own shit. That's how it always works. But no, decided to ignore that and instead start washing up my stuff. So I then had to grab that and wash it up again. Thanks, OCD. Always looking out for me. Not supposed to rhyme. It's just so frustrating, because that's like one of the bigger issues here. I don't really know a solution, because for some reason, I don't know why, but it always happens with older people, but they just don't seem to remember much. I don't know if that's like a part of aging or what, but I've even noticed it in people who are not as old as he is, and it's like, I don't know, like, is it just the world around us or what? It doesn't make sense, but that's been a frustrating part of it. Luckily, we're usually left to our own devices in terms of washing up, so there's never any sort of support person doing it, which is good, because frankly, I'd have a fucking nightmare knowing that they've washed it. I'm not that bad at it. It's just the OCD aspect of it, the same as obviously that it being washed up when it didn't need to be. So what else? trying to think. Other things are all to really talk about here. Oh, actually, I'm not sure. Yeah, the plates and bowls, because the weird thing I did with the plates and bowls this time was I got things that are over capacity, basically, meaning bigger than your average meal. And I wanted to get something different because I was fed up of the standard cutlery of bowls and plates, and even the pots and pans, to be honest. Because they're just so useless, like they just don't work. And even then, they get scratched easily, they get fucked up really easily. It's not always a good experience. Because everyone's sharing that same thing, it would be an interesting experiment to see how the other pieces have lasted. And I'm happy to report everything I've pretty much gotten in the last. God, I don't even know how long it was. Like, I need to look this up. Look for a receipt. Let's see if it shows up. Let's see, pots. That's not the pots. I don't know where the fuck it's even showing. Right, this is useless. Nope. Pans and pans. Fucking hell. This is annoying. No, it dates back to 2022. Where the fuck is it? Set? It'd be a set, because I did get these things as a set. Definitely got these last year. That's all I remember. But I think one of the things, oh fuck, I don't even know where it's gone. I can't even remember where I bought it. Jesus, I can't even find shit, that's weird. No, it's not coming out, that's weird. But I got these like pots and pans that are black on the outside and white on the inside, so you can actually tell where scratches are and where food is, which has actually been really handy, and they've lasted as well. The bowls and plates I got square plates because I wanted to try it out. I was going to get square bowls as well, but they're harder to find. I got some nice patterned bowls and plates, sort of modern looking bowls, so got the insides that make it look like it's from a restaurant. But yeah, they lasted well. The plates, the only thing that I find a problem with is it doesn't go towards the centre. There's like these edges on it rather than bevels. And it does create a bit of annoyance at times because even though food doesn't go off the edge as much, it does mean that it can easily go off the edge and you can't actually scoop it up like the whole point of a bowl is. Like, did you know the reason that a bowl is shaped like that? So that you can essentially get food with one hand, like when you use a spoon or a fork or whatever. You try to pick up the food with one hand, you can actually do it with a bowl. That's what those are. I only really discovered that when I went to a restaurant, because I looked at their sort of plates, I think it was, and I saw they had a really big fucking bevel in the middle. That's also all that's about. It's in the plate. That's a strange thing, but they have that because of the steepness. I don't know what you call it. It's basically the incline that you can put the food onto, and it just falls onto your spoon. And you move it there. It's really interesting. But yeah, no, pretty much no scratches on those things. I will say the plates haven't lasted too well. I've noticed more scratches on them as each day goes by. To be fair, I'm not using them all the time, so maybe I just need to switch it up. But then again, it's probably better to just use one plate till it breaks or something, then move on to the other when it's cleaner. So I've got a set of 4 with same with bowls. But as well as square plates as well, people probably might be wondering, how good is it? Honestly, it is better than the ordinary plate. The problem with the ordinary plate is, with it being circular, it just doesn't fit much on it. I always had fucking problems with that. And that's the main reason I moved towards a obviously a square plate. It's because that shit was just so hard to fit on there. With a square plate, I've had no problems fitting it on. The worst thing that happens actually is cutlery slides off of it, and for some reason that seems to be really common with equipment. I didn't used to have that problem. Like, for like 10 years I didn't used to have that. But for some reason it started happening, and I don't even know why. It's so strange. I don't know if I've got maybe shaky hands and I don't realise it. I do have shaky hands every now and then. I suspect I might have some sort of arthritis. Also, something wrong with my ring finger. What the fuck? It's the one with a wound on it. It's not supposed to look that out of shape, but okay. Yeah. So square plate, I'd say it works. You know, it's definitely more organised. That's the main thing with that. I wanted to see I could fit on my desk. It's not in the way. You know, it's a bit more organised, but I wish it had the bevels rather than the curved insides. For some reason they're like curved from the edges, which makes it feel like a bowl. It does allow more liquid, but at the same time, not very optimal. And also it would be more effective if it had fucking more curves on it, I guess. Like if it was actually deeper. But yeah, it's worked. It's kept liquid on, it's kept all sorts of fluid on that never slipped off, which I'm happy to report, except for maybe an odd chip or two, but that's expected anyway when you stack it. The bowls have lasted well. Nothing to note with that because they're just circular bowls. They're quite deep, fit a lot on it. And actually, a full bowl is often too much for me. That's a crazy thing with that. They're quite big. I think it's like, God, I don't know how many of these. It's like 2.6, I think. They're not massive. It's not massive, no. I'd say it's about 1 litre actually. So it's quite a bit. I think maybe that's too big. I don't know. But it's worked. It's lasted, and the cutlery I should mention as well. That sort of lasted. It's lasted longer than I thought. I started to see like the first few marks and scratches on it about 2 or 3 months ago. It's like a little dot on one of the spoons, and I saw some of the coating coming off, I think, on some of it. It's not that noticeable, and obviously because I'm using like 4 different sets of these at a time, I do get through different types, so it's lasting, but it's interesting to see. So like living alone, I think I'd be fine with that. In a knowing there's also just my gunk, my germs. It's a bit better than knowing that someone's fucking dead animal or whatever has touched it. It's just far more favourable. I think, I guess my bit of advice, I also moved to glass topper and glass bottles, and they're actually really good. Like, you can probably hear it. It's actually really good. The only thing I'd say with these is get a good lid, because some of these are shit. I might have to find another one to replace one of mine because the lid on it is so fucking bad. The main problem for me, other than holding it being an issue, you need one with I think a built-in handle possibly. It also needs to be like a specific material. I recommend you do research on this before you do it, by the way. If you get a glass material that fucking breaks everywhere, that's going to cut your hands, that's going to kill you, probably. That's not good. So get one with like a lid handle, or at least again a built-in one. And also the material that breaks into bigger pieces, which is more favourable, because less mess, less cutting. And I got a 1.5 litre, I believe, because I went 2 litre plastic bottles. I tried some rather plastic before, and the horrible thing with that is the smell. My god, the fucking smell. It just picked up anything and everything. It was just bad, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So I looked at some advice. I was thinking like maybe a steel bottle, because that might have contained it better. Might be better in summer as well, like, never know. But the recommended one was actually glass, and I was thinking about getting glass Tupperware anyway because of plastic tubs. I had Triton tubs as well, and they carried this fucking smell as well. I got so fed up of it, I was like, you know what? At this point, I'm just going to risk it. I'm going to have glass, and I don't regret it. Get things that are made of glass. Simple and the same material, as I said. You know, one that breaks into bigger pieces if it does break. Haven't broken one yet. It's been, I think, over half a year now as well. I think I've got all these at the same time. I can actually look at the receipts for the bowl, actually, as I know where I bought them. Let's see. Bowl. I think the plates were from somewhere else. Bowl, 15th November 2024. Actually, that's impressive. I've had that for over a year now. That's almost been 2 years. That was unexpected. Plates. No plates. Pans, just in case. That might be there. Nope. Just a skillet, but I don't really use that much. What's the other thing? Again, the cutlery might give me a clue. Cutlery I got last year in April. So yeah, it's lasted quite well, I think. Not bad. And what's that other fucking thing? God, why do I forget what I was talking about? It's Tupperware. No, it's a sharp glass. I probably spelled it wrong. Glass. Water bottle, 1st September. The other one was 2 August. Yeah, because I basically tried one first before I bought the second. They also have these like things that come with it, like a silicone grip thing. I don't recommend it, to be honest. I just don't get used to it. It's hard to wash up, and then it gets all fucking gunky when you clean it, and you have to like separate it and then put it back on. It's like, fuck off. Don't need these extra steps. And the other one has like a stupid jacket. So yeah, the tops I got on the 15th of July, so they've lasted really well. I haven't broken a single one. I am missing one of them, I think. I don't know where that's gone. Good boy. I have no idea where that's from. But there's no scratches on it, there's nothing. And they cook well in the microwave as well. There's not been a single mark when I've cooked it in the last month rather. I didn't stop putting things in the microwave until a few weeks ago, technically speaking, to warm it up. Because I was always afraid of food poisoning, I just started to say, you know what, I'll do it. I don't think the lid's microwavable, I've not even attempted it, because apparently it's not microwavable according to reviews. But yeah, final thing to say on the bottles is the lid thing, to reiterate on that. Like, my main issue, like, mine has like I call it a penis helmet on it for some reason, because it's got like a fucking shield where the handle is. It's like an extra grip, which is interesting. So I guess it's like a way to grip it, and when you put your thumb under it, it does feel a bit sturdier. Where the lid meets the glass, it feels like a sort of shield for it to hold on to support the weight, which is clever. So I don't mind it, but the only problem with washing it up is you need to have the lid weight down. And I don't know how to fix that. The only thing I try to do with that is put the lid underneath the rail so that it's kept down, because it dries better that way. Never had a problem doing that. It's always dried perfectly. But it's so big that it might not even fit. That's the problem. I'm trying to think of a way to solve that problem. I'm really not sure what it'd take. Maybe a zip tie might help it. Even then, that's a bit risky. It's like putting a zip tie under the actual rack itself. It might actually work. I don't know. Yeah, that's like the only problem with it. And the other thing is drinkability, because I have a big problem with bottles my Triton bottles are really good for this actually. You can drink like a good 250 milliliters in under 10 seconds. But with my second bottle of choice here, it takes a good 20 seconds. It's like a small amount of time, but it's fucking annoying. I just want to get my intake every 30 minutes. I take in like a 200 milliliters and every 30 minutes, and that basically does me for the day, unless it's a day where I'm going out where I drink beforehand so I don't have to piss when I'm out. Yeah, I'll do this by the way. I'm real fucking nerdy and OCD like that. And I'll do it like an hour or two before so I don't have to do that, and then when I'm out and I drink, I don't have to pee. It always works. I'm not even joking, it does fucking work really effectively. So I do recommend that if people are worried about that sort of thing. I don't like public toilets, fuck them. Yeah. Like, that's the weird thing. I guess that's my thoughts on my changes of cookware, not cookware, I don't know what history is. You know what I mean. Stuff you eat out of your hands, your pans, whatever it is. And it works pretty effectively in my opinion. I definitely can't complain about it much. It's certainly a niche, but it does work. And I do like it. Yeah, a lot of these changes have been good for me in my opinion. And nobody's even mixed up like the whatever it's called, like the plates or bowls or anything, because they're so different that nobody bothers with them. And I also have my own place I put them, so it's generally okay. I probably need to find a way to like stack them somehow to get them better organised. There's like an empty space above my plates, and I put them in a tub at the moment, or tray, not tub. But there's probably a way to stack that to have bowls on top instead, and that just saves room. I'll have to consider that in the future, maybe if I move. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this sort of thing. It's a random topic, but can be interesting. I'm not nerdy about these things, but at the same time, it's interesting to see how things are going. 6 months on since starting glass Tupperware, glass bottles, my own cutlery, my own cookware, my own plates and bowls. It just works. So yeah, I haven't really had an issue. Issues with travel mugs, because I only drink from a travel mug because I'm worried about spilling. And my biggest problem with travel mugs is that fucking lid. It's always the fucking lids. These things. You can get the bottom right, but you can get the lids completely wrong. I just want one with just a drinking hole. And I don't need a fancy lid necessarily. Just like a drinking hole, like maybe a sippy cup, technically speaking. But it's so fucking annoying to clean out and dry. It's always been a pain. And I just can't find the right one because I need 500 milliliters to make the most of it. Otherwise my oat milk goes off. That's what I've noticed anyway, is like the sweet spot, unless I make things fucking cold as hell. But I don't know. It's a bit complicated. I don't really want to use the same milk for my cereal. No, oats. I don't have cereal. Yeah, so that's that. Let's move on. This is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to basically being happy with owning nothing, and obviously how stupid that is. So I'm talking about the very fact that we could be doing something more when it comes to digital media and how we process it, obviously. I think one of the best things we could possibly do for this is to have a physical media form of these things that we have just strictly online. Obviously there are cases where you can't do it, where it requires a server to run, like for example a game where it's like a multiplayer or an MMO. It really varies in that sense. But I do think having a backup of at least the games that are single player but locked to, I don't know, like a service like Steam or Epic, having a physical copy of that in itself in this day and age is not a bad idea at all. In fact, I pretty much encourage it now that I've thought about it. And I've thought about this for a few minutes now, a few hours, whatever. But I think it is really important. Because recently there was a news story, I'm not sure if anyone's seen this, where a Steam account got hacked through using AI. And given that we're not seeing that disappear anytime soon, and no doubt people would just use a version that's like local to them, or something like that, along those lines, there's going to be more dangers that come up of this. And that in itself is a concern. Because that means we don't truly own anything that we have online, and we'll eventually take it for granted when we get to that point in society where nobody can go online. It is an active danger. I've predicted this, I think, but I'll reiterate what I said. I think we're going to see a world where it becomes normal to see AI attacks, not only in real life, but online as well, but especially online, because this is where it's going to happen most. It's where people are going to exploit it the most. So there's obviously a big danger in itself. And I think the other thing that we're going to see is that it's going to become a right battlefield on the internet, where people are just so fed up of being hacked or having websites taken down because of AI, and then we're just not going to have anywhere to go. So it would just be empty, it would just be a plane. There wouldn't be anything there. We couldn't even identify anything for that matter. So there's obviously these massive dangers that come with this. And we can't ignore that fact, because at the end of the day, that's what's the big problem here. It's going to be empty. There's going to be nothing left when AI fucks over because of the lack of actual, technology and resources, as well as regulation. And regulation, I think, is the most important thing. I said this from the start. The moment I saw Dolly and it's taking over artists, it's like, you motherfuckers, why aren't you regulating this? Like, genuinely doesn't make sense. So as a result, it's just fucking ourselves. So you do have to take things into your own hands in that case, to do things better, to have a physical form of media. And I don't really see any other way to do it. I think one of the things from that, because obviously technology itself, at least until something bad comes up, it's mostly safe. And I think even like physical media, like a external hard drive or SSD in itself, is safe. I could be wrong. I don't think it goes wrong or really degrades over time. So obviously these things can provide us some relief, because you can just get things on there. And at this point I do sort of actively encourage this shit, because you have to download things to get physical media now. And if you can't get it physically, obviously like a disc, although not everything has a disc reader, you do have to download it. As a result, it's pretty much encouraged to download things, because you won't have any other way of keeping this media and having it so you can remember it. I don't want those shows I've seen to just go away because of fucking AI screwing over everything and everyone. That'd be a horrible situation to have. So it's probably the best option to start to download things that you just really enjoy. Like, literally. I don't know how you would do that without, taking like proper safety precautions, but again, at this point, when companies want you to own nothing, and this is the other thing it's going to, like, they want you to be happy with owning nothing. But then when we don't own it, and AI fucking fucks it up, what do you expect? I said this with the Amazon service as well, when they went on the Amazon web service, or and how we shouldn't be relying on a single fucking source for it, because it just easily go wrong. If anything, competition is always a good thing, even if we may not like it. Like how we've got Intel versus AMD, for example. It's still good competition. Admittedly, we need more contenders, but I'm pleased with the fact that we have to. It's just a good thing because that means it's spread out. It means that people can actually sort of give a crap about things. It's just really important. So yeah, of course, it does matter to have physical media when the company doesn't want you to own it. And also it's a sign of protest as well, or a sign of an action. You know, they're actually protesting the bullshit. So why not? I think if people disagree with it, you're pretty much stupid. You're basically cocksuckers with shills. You don't actually give a shit about people. You don't actually give a shit about, as cliche as it sounds, integrity, or humanity for that matter. I'd hate having to lose access to something like One Piece, for example, the anime. But I think my only solution for addressing this is to start stacking up over time anyway. It's like storage stuff, like literally physical storage, like again external SSDs, and then just downloading everything to that. That's the only solution I can see being viable in this day and age, when you can't trust anything. Even then, I would rather go for something like a disc set, if that was possible. Not possible with One Piece, I don't think, anyway. Or maybe just the manga, but it's going to cost a lot, I think. You know, I'd love to get like a translated version of the One Piece manga, that'd be incredible. At the same time, I kind of want the anime. It's a tough spot, I guess. I haven't decided on that. But I'd also want to download something like the classic Simpsons. Download basically everything that I fucking loved over time, not even South Park, let's be honest. South Park's probably one of those I would have as well, and if you can buy a digital download, great. I don't really disagree with that. That's what should be happening. You know, even if like One Piece in its entire anime costed like, what, £200, that'd be well worth it for the entire fucking anime, or at least season 1 as it's called now. Just fucking stupid, I'll be honest. At least it's going into the final seasons, I guess. So yeah. But even then, like physical or digital download of the manga in itself is a decent idea. There's something weird just happened in this front line. For some reason, there's nobody here at these nodes, which is weird. Yeah, okay. Yeah. This is also why I just download images on these that I love. It's like, I don't want to forget these. These are actually really good. You know, if they're not good, I wouldn't download them. But yeah, that's kind of the point. I'd like to remember these for what they are. It's just like a moment of joy in my life, especially when I'm feeling down. I think that's really important. There have been many cases like that. So that's why I obviously encourage this. I don't think it's wrong. And I'm yet to hear an argument that actually shows it's wrong, even when I've tried to debunk this myself. It's not stealing because they're not even giving you something to own. You're just paying for something brief. There's like nothing to fucking show for it, other than what, memory or just my Word document notes. You know, that's not the same thing. It's like preservation. You need it spread out. You need it everywhere. Otherwise you just erase a memory. You erase history. So it's not good to have things again stuck on the fucking cloud. Like, piss off with that shit. Seriously. So yeah, I better move on from this topic. So yeah, I might as well make an outro here because pretty much done all the topics I can, and it's also it's gone on for a while. There's some interesting things to talk about this week. Quite a lot actually. I think it's like the third episode in the week. Yeah, it's definitely something that the world is obviously uncertain and stuff, and I don't even know what I said about the about ice. Did I talk about that? able to do when the justice system doesn't work, yeah. So, thanks for listening. See you another time.